Everyone, talking about Ward 3, talking about Dr. Martin Luther King, and Dan was in the first class at Dr. Martin Luther King.
That's correct. I was in the first nursery school class, and I believe the King School was supposed to go to third grade at the time, but they had so many students there that I was in second grade. We were shipped off to the John Howland School, which doesn't exist anymore either. It's condominiums on Cole Avenue, but I've been in the city for most of my life. There was a time there where my folks moved out to the country, but I came right back to Providence.
That's home for you.
Yes, it is.
As we're here in 2017, what do you think are the biggest challenges facing Ward 3 specifically in the city right now? What do you hear from folks when you talk with them that you want to run? What do they say to you? If you go to City Hall, you need to...
The same thing that I'm sure people hear in a lot of other wards. We need to deal with our schools. We need to deal with the infrastructure in our schools. We need to deal with the fact that while there are a lot of good intentioned people and there's a lot of people working in these schools, by all accounts, most of the people in my district feel that they are failing the students. We have some issues with regard to everybody wants to make sure that if I get elected, I'm going to hold the line with regard to taxes because we pay an awful lot of money. And I'm a little concerned. It's great that they're trying to phase out the car tax, and no one wants to pay car tax. But the worry is, in 5 or 6 or 3 or 4 years from now, if there's a financial crisis, that's a subsidy coming from the state, and if they pull it from us, we're going to have to tax everybody.
That we just had Russ Moore does the Hot or Not list, and he questioned about how the repeal of the car tax would look. So you talk about holding the line on taxes and investing in the schools. Now the mayor's budget proposal this year has a major emphasis on education, but with no tax hike, if you will. How do you think the actual finances of the city are? I mean, you're a lawyer, you know this. Is the city in good fiscal shape in your opinion?
Well, I've been working my way through the budget, and I've been dealing with a couple of people who are advising me. And I've got to say that taking a look at our budget, this next budget, the 17-18 budget, seems to be just fine, and he's putting more money into the schools, which is something we'd all like to see happen. But looming on the horizon is that 2018-2019, the 2019 budget. And it's going to coincide with the fact that we're projecting a $130 million deficit on the state level. That's got to trickle down to Providence, probably more than any other city.
Yes.
And we're also looking at this last budget, 2017-18, is the last year of an 8-year phase out, or an 8-year revision in the way the state spreads funds for public education. So at this point, unless something's done, you're looking at about an $8 to $10 million deficit in that 2019 budget. And it's also coming together at a time where we're going to be renegotiating a labor contract for the teachers, and where there are, I believe, increases just built in systemically that will probably raise that. Now, it's a little too soon to call out the alarm, but we really need to be considering what's going to happen in the this next council is going to have to deal with 2019.
And I'm sure these are part and parcel of conversations you are having with folks as to why you're making the case for your candidacy. What makes you uniquely qualified to be that council person to address these types of issues?
Well, I think that based upon the fact that I've been a local attorney for the last 30 years. I practiced with my father, who did it for 50 years before he retired. A lot of what we do is negotiate really tough situations for people with really tough people on the other side. So, politicians are no strangers to being lawyers. So we spend an awful lot of time trying to figure out where we can get some common ground, or where we can force an issue if we actually have to. So I think that I have a little different experience than the other candidates in the race with regard to dealing with these type of very complicated situations.
So from now till July, when the primary is, are you just going to be pounding the pavement, just getting out and talking with folks in the district?
The goal is wear out 3 pairs of shoes, lose 20 pounds, and knock on every door twice.
Have you had any conversations with the mayor himself?
To be honest with you, no, I haven't. I supported the mayor. I voted for him. I'm excited about a lot of the things that he's doing, and let's face it, he allowed the Ethics Commission to actually happen, which is really important. That's a real part of my practice. It's a real part of the way I run my practice. I actually, besides sitting on the commission, part of what I do is I teach educational seminars to other attorneys and other judges as well. and a good deal of those are ethical seminars as to how you should behave in certain situations. So I think that, honesty, integrity, and fair dealing is really what we're looking to highlight and kind of hold people accountable for.
Okay, so what else would you say, as you're here, we're addressing viewers, that you would like folks to know about you, Ward 3 voters, and just Providence residents in general, that we maybe haven't touched upon? I think I wasn't sure if the mic fell down. I was born in Ward 3. I spent a good deal of time in Ward 3, although I've lived in Mount Pleasant. I've lived over by Hope and Rochambeau for a while. When I was in Providence, I went to some public schools here. And I've had that 30 years of practicing. I've been sitting on this ethics commission, and I really enjoy it. I just think that I have been a political junkie for a long time. What's happening on a national level has been very, very distressing at times and exciting at times. And to have the ability to actually jump in a short race where none of the candidates that I'm running with have any real political baggage, we're all people who, it seems to me, are incensed at the situation and have decided to get off the sidelines and see if we can make a difference. And I'm looking forward to having that opportunity. Well, I appreciate your coming in to share with folks a little bit more about you, what you're looking to accomplish if elected to the council seat. Again, all eyes on July for the primary and then August for the general. So it's going to be hot in the city, and you're going to take the heat and be out there in Ward 3, so maybe we'll see you around if we're on that side of town.
Great.
Okay.
ChaikaforProvidence.com, please. Thank you.
We'll have it in the clip. Dan Chaika, I appreciate your coming in today. Thank you. We'll talk. Dan Chaika running for Ward 3 for the seat vacated by Councilman Kevin Jackson, who was recalled recently in a recall vote. And we'll be able to hopefully talk with all of the candidates as the primary is set to take place in July with the general in August. As we just said, we're already in cycle for 18, but of course this special election and then one taking place down in Newport as well that we're looking at. So getting our political fix here this summer as we look at races taking shape for 18 as